Yeah.
Go. So, welcome to another episode of the People, Passion, and Purpose podcast. This time, the spotlight is on women in the whole month of March. The idea is to get as many women as possible to think that their stories matter, and to also, while thinking, also bring them up to say that my stories do matter, irrespective of the accolades, the achievements, and all the things that has come across. And more women start sharing their stories, even though for them at that point of time may not be inspiring. But there are others who would lap it up and say that was exactly what we needed. So, in that aspect, we have Shilpa with us. She is the connoisseur of multiple stories, great experiences in life. So, Shilpa, welcome to the People, Passion, and Purpose podcast. We've met quite a lot of times. I know you quite well. But I want you to do your own introduction.
Thank you so much, Sunil, for inviting me for this podcast and for giving me this opportunity to share my story. Yes, so yeah, I always think, oh, what's about my story? But it's like, it's nice, like the way you set it up. We don't know, it's just a story, and who and what it will inspire, or it's just a story, and people would enjoy it also.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
yeah, so who am I? It's a very big question. So yeah, multiple roles. So by profession, I am a coach, a life coach. I use clear beliefs approach. I'm a trauma-informed coach, facilitator, and trainer in social emotional learning. A mother, a daughter, a partner, just a human being, evolving every day. And something that I really love is to become a better version of myself every single minute, day, call it. So that's who I am.
Fantastic. So you are a coach, you are a mom, you are, I think, also a crazy bundle of energy. And I think wherever Shilpa goes, Shilpa's infectious laughter also goes. I think that's something that comes along. So Shilpa, you said in the conversations before, right? So you were not the greatest with mathematics. Then some interesting incident that happened, and then your life had a transition. So put the users or listeners through that story. So how was it? So what's the story?
So yeah, like call it story. Like um, where do I begin? I'm just telling when you mention about mathematics. Yeah, mathematics is not one of my favorite subjects. Um, uh, this is in yeah, let me just give a brief of where I come from. So I am born and brought up in Bangalore, and typical middle class family. When I say middle class family, it's mostly like the needs are very much fulfilled, but there is no much space for like, okay, go and eat a pastry in a bakery or well, when I was growing up, probably pastries weren't there. It was just cakes and savories. And I remember having a first full bar of chocolate, dairy milk. I don't know if if you know, you are a little younger than me, but that 5 rupees bar of chocolate, one of my friend gave me. So otherwise, I only remembered eating things, sharing it with everyone in the family. So there is joy in sharing, and that's pretty much where I come from. And uh, schooling was fine. I breezed through the classes until my 10th standard. I was like really enjoyed, um, shifting into different schools, and it was fun. I did my high school in Acharya Patashala, which is like with 8th, ninth, and 10th. It was fun. It was an aided school, fully girls. We were like around, I think, 64 of us. Nice. It's like a sea of people there. So uh, each uh, um, each what can I say? Like the primary was in a different school, middle school was in different different, and then high school was in different at different times, and it was very beautiful experiences. And it was only after 10th standard is when I started feeling like, oh, I needed to put efforts into what I'm studying. So study started feeling difficult because I took science after my 10th standard. I had gotten like 75% in high school. I said, yeah, I think I can take science. And I also was wanting to become a doctor because by nature, I felt like I wanted to contribute to people's life. I want to help people. And if I become a doctor, then I'll be able to do that. So, okay, science makes a good choice. So I went ahead, took science, and I felt the subjects to be extremely difficult. And the college that I went to was like, they was just starting first year of bringing in this college, extending their 10th to 11th and 12th. So teachers were relatively new. I started finding the curriculum a little difficult and ended up flunking in maths. That is where the story is. And then I was like, that's the first time ever I experienced failure. I was like, wow, it was a shame. It was though people at home were very much like, it's okay, you can just write it again and then pass. But I was like, it was such a sense of shame that I said, what the hell? I don't even want to write exams again. But then, yeah, because of my dad wanted us to do degree. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it for his sake. I wrote the maths and passed. So that's the story about my math.
Interesting, interesting. So I think my first interest with failure was possibly, I think, standard 8 or 9 when we failed collectively as a unit in the class. So I think only three of them had passed the first internals in chemistry. And until then, we were. I was a decent student, never bad in terms of this, but neither so good that teachers remember me for all the marks and stuff like that. But strangely, yeah, the teachers still remember me after many, many years and saying, Sunil, we remember you. But so I don't know why they remember. But yeah, never for any bad reason, never for any good reason. So it is not academically that. And you bring a very interesting aspect. So academically, it was tough. But then academics is so much more. Because both of us have done parenting coaching, or
Yeah.
like parental coach, that particular initiative. We'll come to that at a later point of time. But your story is interesting. So, what happened between failing in math and then becoming, the trainer at Dream a Dream? So, I know it's a long question. You have time.
I'll see if I can answer it in short. I'll try to keep it short. Can't promise. So, in between being a facilitator at Dream a Dream and my failure in math and then passing math, luckily, there was 10 years of working as a medical transcriptionist. So when I lost that year during math, like you have this exam mid-year after you fail. And then when I wrote my exams, I still had like 6 months gap. And I was like thinking, okay, what can I do? Second PU, right? Yeah, what can I do? I thought, okay, I'll apply for a correspondence degree and then let's see. And then while I was looking at opportunities, I came across this opportunity of medical transcription, which was very much related to doctors and documenting medical reports and all of that. That got me excited because I wanted to become a doctor, and by now I knew I cannot become a doctor. So it needs a little more. I mean, I I needed to. I didn't see myself doing a doctor degree. So then I went ahead, tried to understand, and then gave a test. I got a scholarship. So I enrolled myself into this job-oriented course. So in 2000, I finished the course and I got the job as a medical transcriptionist. And then it was like just go do your reports, come back, go do your reports, come back. So It's exciting because as a medical transcriptionist, you get to you get to do different kind of reports. It can be surgery, it can be psychiatry, it can be emergency, it can be orthopedic, ophthalmology, endocrinology. I had this love towards science, and Googling or researching about medicines, researching about knowing anatomy and understanding the body, diseases and cure and all of that. Yeah, I did enjoy it, though every day was monotonous. Every report was different in its own way. And during this time is when uh, life was very secure. I was in a job, though I was not like, earning exorbitantly. I was doing decent. Um, so mostly it was like a flat line, I can say. Um, it was during that time I heard a interview of Vishal Talrija. He's a founder of Dream a Dream, and he was talking about how he has an NGO and he works with children from vulnerable communities, and what they do is do different programs with children, giving them experiences of fun and building life skills and all of this. I was like, wow, this is interesting. I do have some free time in weekends and evenings. I need to approach. And that's when my introduction to Dream a Dream happened. And I started volunteering with them. And when I started volunteering is when I realized, wow, I really love being with children. And it gives me a sense of purpose when I am serving them, when
Hmm.
I'm spending my time with them. And Dream a Dream and meeting Vishal was a very profound experience too. Vishal as a person he gives you that feeling. Like when I see him interacting with children, the kind of respect and dignity that he brings to the children is like you can see and feel that they matter. And it's the same when he's interacting with volunteers. There's a
Hmm.
sense
And
of appreciation for the other person and the way he listens and the way he uh, interacts with you. Though he's a founder, he never brings it in the space as like,
Mhm.
oh, like, you're a volunteer, I'm a founder kind.
Interesting, interesting. Shilpa, maybe
So,
just to cut you at that point. So, how do you know that somebody is listening to you like that? Because that's I think is a very interesting part. So, how did you know that Vishal was listening to the person, giving the respect to the person? So, for example, if as a non-coach, I have to understand this as an example. How did you see it?
no, it's just like there was nothing that he said. It's just the way he was. I think the way he was being with me. I remember in one of the times when I was talking to him, I could literally see him, feel him respond to what I was sharing, even without saying anything. It's like, yeah, that's beautiful. And just a small example of the kind of person he is. Like, I wanted to introduce Dream a Dream to the place I work, one of the companies I worked. So I set up a small orientation time where employees come, and then Vishal came and introduced what Dream a Dream is. And he just invited people who would want to volunteer with them to like raise their hands. After like I think 45 minutes of orientation, when he asked this question, there was just one hand and a half hand. I don't know, like maybe half or I don't think anyone like very excitedly showed up, and I was like so much of time he and his colleague had come, showed, I mean, wanted to see. But when this happened, I think it was one person who was interested or nothing. I can't remember. But when I was just telling him, "Hey, I'm so sorry, not many people are interested in volunteering," he said, I still have you. I was like, nobody ever spoke to me like that. He said, I still have you. Huh? So these are the kind of moments where you see that each one is valued for who they are. And we normally don't talk to people like that, right? Like, how many of them tell, like, him just telling that felt like I mattered. I am someone. So I think my experience of seeing my own value actually started from my interactions with him. Of course, yes, I did have friends. I did have another friend who was like that, but there was something. Yeah, I think yeah, I can say it deepened. I can say it got strengthened as I was like volunteering as well as having conversations with Vishal. So yeah, this is pretty much. I think
So
you just know when someone is listening.
absolutely, absolutely. I think yeah, that's a true space. So they don't have to do things they're being, and that's most of the times enough, more than enough at that point. But I have heard your story, so I know that somewhere along the line there came a marathon, there came another opportunity, and then you flew all the way to Mombasa and you became a trainer there. So you want to explain that and inspire others with this, how a
Yeah,
medical transcriptionist became a trainer.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, this introduction with Vishal and then my volunteering continued with Dream Team. I just had fabulous time going to different places with them, call it museum, zoo, a theme park, and we even went to adventure camps. That was my first experience of traveling in a sleeper class train with the children. And then canoeing in the water with life jackets, and then coracling with the kids, putting mud packs with children. So yeah, it was hiking. Of course, I had done some hiking with the children. It was also a very beautiful experience. And as I continued it more and more inspired me to uh, support Dream a Dream and its initiatives, because I could see these experiences was doing something to children. It was helping them see a possibility for themselves, which otherwise they would not have gotten a chance to. So that's when I started running marathons. This was not actually a marathon. Bangalore started doing TCS World 10K. So I thought, okay, fine, I will use this opportunity to raise funds for them. So every year I used to enroll myself into 10K and then raise funds for them through my networks. So that happened, and I kept in touch. 1 year down the volunteering time, I got married and my priorities changed and didn't have as much time as I used to earlier. But this was one commitment I just kept going with. And that's how we also kept in touch. And one of the times when I went to pledge the money, Vishal was like, would you like to work for Dream a Dream? I'm like, I don't have any experience. All I know is medical transcription. But Dream a Dream is very close to me. And in casual conversations with friends, I used to mention that only if I could work with Dream a Dream, it would be my dream come true. And then here I had this opportunity where he's asking, would you like to work with that? And I'm like, okay. Like, and there was also not much compromise I had to make money wise, because they would be offering the same as what I used to earn then. So I was like, wow, yeah, less. Okay. I just took a leap of faith. And then I said, okay, fine, I'll jump in. So I gave my interview. I didn't even bother to check if I got the job or not, because I was so sure that I will not get it. And then when I was like randomly, something happened, and I was like, okay, let me check my email. And then there was like an offer letter on that saying, okay, you got selected as back-end fundraising and communication of events. I was like, oh, wow. So then I was like, yeah, I do remember it was Sucheta was the one who interviewed me. She was the one who was hiring. So she asked me, so what about Dream interests you? The more questions were about what Dream means to me than the skills that I had as a fundraiser or in my communication. And then fine, I didn't know what to expect in my job role. I jumped in. I said, okay, fine, I would love to work. And then I started. I was 29 when I started working with Dream. So the first year, yeah, it was mostly managing donations, keeping track of them, and then also involve, that is when I understood, like in NGOs, the role that you're doing is there, but there's also a lot of scope of growing, and then there's a lot of scope of taking on more responsibilities and learning new work. So I also started managing events. So I used to do this uh, marathons. I used to inspire people. We had a lot of volunteers, and some of them used to take on running for a cause. And my job was to make sure that I guide them towards how they can raise funds using marathons, using runs, which I had done. So I was like, okay, fine. So all that I needed was to really inspire the way I got inspired. So that was fun. It was not always easy because as a medical transcription for 10 years straight, I had just worked with the system. System as in it was just me and interacting with my computer, keying in medical reports. There was not much teamwork. There was not much creativity needed or communication or collaboration or cooperation. Nothing was needed other than just me and my reports. So this was a new experience for me. But what kept me going was the closeness that I felt to the cause and the belief that I had, and that I wanted children, more and more children, to get access to life skills. So that's what kept me going. I learned how
Mm.
to interact with people, network with people, engage with people. And while I was doing Dream a Dream was one of the um, top three NGOs who raised maximum funds through 10K. I was like, nice. Though, part of it was me. I felt proud of it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, and then, yeah, skipping to, yeah, this was still a fundraising thing. Uh, and then, yeah, when I was doing fundraising is when I got also opportunity to to be part of a staff training that Dream a Dream did. That was a 2 day staff training. This was a pivotal moment, the second pivotal moment, where I was like, I walk into the training hall, and everything is like new. Everything is different. Um, it was like, how can I say? So it's such a beautiful experience that I had. It sometimes becomes difficult to contain it in words. So yeah, so here I was. I didn't know what to expect. We walk in, and then I see this another person uh, who has, been an inspiration in my life. His name is Charlie Murphy. He was a trainer for those 2 days, and he was like inviting. The whole atmosphere was very warm, friendly. um, we started off the training, and there was something about the way he brought us together. We were in a circle, and he said, okay, so these 2 days, we are just going to be ourselves. So I know we all have this voice within us, a voice which is, call it a critic voice, which is always telling us, you're not good enough, you'll be silly. What do you think of yourself? Really? You want to say this? You'll be a total fool if you do. So he was saying this, and I was like, yeah, yeah, that's true. I was just going in inside my mind. And then he said, okay, let's like take it off and then throw it out of the window. He actually made us do an exercise where you actually take it out and then throw it off. And then he said, for these 2 days, just the invitation is for you to just be yourself, not think of anything else, and just bring yourself right in. And then I was like, wow, he's inviting. What's the harm? Let me just be myself. So, so during these 2 days, I saw that I could see I could see parts of me which I didn't earlier. Who knew that um who knew that subtle invitation by him would give me a opportunity to look into myself. And then I saw like while I was sharing my ideas openly, I could see that I had a different perspective. I had a new way of thinking. And I was like, okay, fine, this is new, something that I'm learning about myself. And then I said I shouldn't be holding back next time. So there was a lot of creativity which I saw within myself in the way I expressed, in the way I did some visual drawings and all of that. And another thing that I saw was the way in that space, in those 2 days, how everyone were vouching for each other. The energy was building in a way that everyone was getting inspired by each other, not pulling each other down. So it was a beautiful experience individually as well as collectively as a group. So, and I was so, and I was just asking myself what made it happen, like what made this whole group thing and individual thing happen. And only thing that comes up to me is the being that the Charlie was, like the way he invited, he seamlessly entered into the group and became one among us. And for me, I can talk for myself. I could be myself, so say it felt safe to be myself. I didn't have to ask the question twice before I need to draw something or share something. I knew that I am safe in this space to be myself and share my views. It inspired me so much that I wanted to be like him. That's where the seed of me being a facilitator got planted. So that's how the journey started.
Crazy, yeah. So this seamless integration of coming in as strangers and then I think walking away at the end of the session as possibly a cohesive unit or one thing that works together. I think it's like that flock of birds, right? So they fly in formations. So one of them enters in, the formation does not change. The entire formation now becomes an updated one, but essentially still a singular entity.
Yeah,
Interesting. And I think it's a privilege to work with some of those trainers who make you feel like, yeah, you belong to a place.
yeah.
Yeah, right. So, and then this training happened, then you went to Mombasa, you did train with,
Train
became a train the trainer, and
leaders,
then,
yes.
so you went internationally, is what I have heard. Right.
Yeah.
So, and then somewhere also, I'm very curious. So, you put your kid to, this unschooling, homeschooling, how do you call it?
Yeah, the self-directed learning, open schooling, I can say.
Mm-hmm. So what was that journey all about? And suddenly, there's so many layers to Shilpa that, in a 40-minute podcast, we'll have to run through certain
Yeah.
structures.
True, true. That's true. That's true. Yeah. So yeah, beautiful. It was like that seed that got planted. Again, like a lot of my uh, uh, lot of lot of courage and faith on making this experiment of taking my daughter out of school when she was 10 years old, starting on this open learning and self-directed learning journey came from my experience as a facilitator. So when I got inspired to become a facilitator, I was a no one. Like I was a fundraiser. I didn't even know how to make that journey. But then there was an opportunity. I applied for it. For me, talking to a group of people, standing in front of a person and talking to a group of people, is very scary. I kind of am an introvert. I can say not exactly an introvert, but then I'm not a kind of person who's very comfortable taking that leadership role or being seen as someone who has the authority to control a group and all that. But yeah, over time I learned, and then in Dream only I switched my roles from becoming a fundraiser to becoming a facilitator, working with children. And when I was working with children is when I saw that, how important it is to give them opportunities to explore themselves. We used to use a lot of art as a medium to build life skills. It can be storytelling, theater, drawing, origami, all of that. So, and safe, most importantly, the safe spaces, like how important it is to have safe space for children to show, express, experiment, make mistakes, and learn from them. So, when I was seeing all of this, I saw the central theme of uh, growing up is about exploring, experimenting, learning, failing, learning from it. So, and the importance of the space, which gives that opportunity to explore, give children the chance to take leadership, take initiative, manage conflicts. Um, so all of that. So, and then I started seeing that yes, academics is important, but what's also important is life skills. So that is what inspired me, and a- also when I took her out of school, it was more like, okay, let me see how it goes. If this is something that we would integrate, or if it would work for us. I knew life skills was important. I also knew, yeah, academics is little important. How does this work? But when I took her out of school, I could see there was a leap of growth in my daughter when she started doing self-directed learning. She started really, like, choosing to do things that she loves. Her creativity was growing. There was space for her to go to choose to do things that she likes. Like one of the like there was a period of time when she just was so interested in plants, learning about trees, fruits, leaves, all of that. There was a period of time where she used to do different kind of arts, like drawing arts, zen tangling, and then mandala making. uh, Actually, she has done a lot of mandalas on our doors. um, so, and then there was this interest of making jewelry where she started using beads,
Interesting.
and also she used to use these Bisleri bottles, um, clean them up, and then paint them, cut them in different shapes, and make them as jewelry. It was like they don't weigh so much. They can be big, vibrant, beautiful. So she did a lot of things, and yeah, I could see how much one part of it was creativity, like how the creativity was not killed but nurtured in the self-directed learning space. And the other things that I saw was how she was taking responsibility for herself. Like it can be planning. How do I plan my day? What do I want to learn in this month? What do I want to learn in this week? What do I want to do in a day? So all those things she started learning. So it's like when you learn to go for what you want to do or what you want to learn, you can literally learn anything, right? So that's what was happening. And I could see that she got a lot of opportunities to take leadership in the self-directed learning space, Arohi. Um, there they have different sections of the day where uh, lot of opportunities come up for they give opportunities for children to lead circles, morning circle, and then there is thought circle in the night. And there is also playtime, which is like group games they used to play. And also every work that they used to do in school. Like, for example, who will plan the schedule of the week for the for food, what goes in breakfast, what goes in lunch, what goes in dinner. So they used to include children in all this planning. They used to give them responsibility to, okay, this week you're taking responsibility to plan what all will be made, and seeing whether all groceries are there, what needs to be filled, what needs to be bought, making sure akkas, they call them akkas, people who help them cook, make sure akkas know the recipe or just bring it to them. Also understand from the people staying there what kind of food they would like to eat. So it's like it was like a small community that they were managing. Even with the accounts, they used to involve children. So seeing all this, and then we didn't need. We didn't feel the need to go back to normal schooling because she was growing um, as a person. She was building life skills. She was learning about herself. She was also going deeper into her interests. And then, yeah, that is how her book in poetry also came. Like she started to write poetry, and then was like, wow, this is nice. And then when she decided to write a book, she said, okay, I'll write a book on poems.
Publish, yeah.
Yeah, so by the age of 14, she published a book of poems, which has 120 poems. It's very
Wow.
beautiful. Yeah. And yeah, so it just didn't, it felt like the right decision to make. There were a couple of times when we wanted to like, okay, should she do her 10th in normal school? Because certificate is important. What about it and all that? But then we said, no, no point in doing it. Though she did her 10th in NIOS, so she took it by herself. I could see that through her journey in this self-directed learning, I was more like a facilitator, encouraging her and bringing her opportunities, but not really like it was mostly uh, self-directed.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm sure it would have taken a lot of courage, a lot of decisions that may not have been the easiest decisions, the conventional decisions as such. So, Shilpa,
Yeah,
I think, in terms of the conversation, we've gone on to sort of very interesting details, right? So, we've done your trajectory of stuff, but you've not yet touched on Shilpa, the person, but maybe a few quick rapid fire questions.
sure,
So,
Shubham.
don't think too much. This is the first answer on the first thing. So, if you were to write a book, your own biography, autobiography, what would you name it?
Autobiography. I would name it as Journey Towards Unconditional Love.
Journey towards unconditional love. So, favorite memory across how many ever years that you've been here?
Favorite? Sorry.
Memory,
Memory of my in my life.
life. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like there are a lot of them. Like my introduction to Dream a Dream, and then Charlie, and my daughter, definitely. Um, and meeting my partner in what was it? During COVID time, 2021.
You listen to this podcast and feel like you forgot.
No, this is like, yeah, like,
Uh,
so
it's truly
after a
forgettable
point,
memory.
it's timeless, right?
Interesting. So, if not for a coach, what would you have been?
If not for a coach, what would I have been? No, I think, yeah, I don't know. Different things like, yeah, training, facilitator, mother, daughter, oh, human being in
Mm,
general. I don't know. You can just
yeah.
like, yeah, I don't know.
Favorite book?
Favorite book. My Master. It's one of the biographies of the spiritual master I follow. He writes about his interaction and journey with his master, Babuji. So that's my favorite book. I really like reading it.
Interesting. If you were to describe yourself in 10 adjectives that has nothing to do with your roles, how will you do that?
Um, Cheerful, loving, helpful, funny, crazy, radical, mm, uh, love, love for life, love.
Hmm.
I mean, little things, appreciating little things. Um, Spontaneous sometimes. um, Awkward sometimes. Brave. Yeah.
So fantastic. So that is good. The whole exercise for this one was basically it. If you were to put roles away for a minute and say, okay, who are you? Most of the times we introduce ourselves saying, I am an engineer, I'm a coach, I'm this and
Yeah.
that. A lot of the human doing stuff is there, human being stuff is there. So, Shilpa, we have possibly 6 to 8 minutes left in today's episode one. If you had to say that today's episode had to be finished and completed, what is one thing you wanted to say that you haven't said yet?
Interesting question.
Yeah, coaching questions.
Um, yeah, like yeah, it's very difficult to uh, crunch the whole experience of the I mean the what can I say? I'm just trying. It's a little difficult to find words to express. What I'm trying to say is like words are difficult to express the magnitude of the experience that goes into um, what it is lived. So if I have to, if I would want to um, say it in a few words, I would say the importance of exploration and experiences in each person's life. Um, yeah, I think that for me is something that I would want to say, and also just really following its guidance and taking on to things uh, you probably do not know what the next step is or how you're going to make it work. Because my life is filled with so many stories where I have taken on something not knowing exactly how it would unfold, but then it unfolded beautifully. The only thing that motivated me to take that choice is the feeling that I felt in the heart. Uh,
Mm.
okay, like, I want to give it a chance. When you feel something that feels right to you, I think you just go ahead and make that choice. And I'm sure, like, the unfolding will happen. You will see the next step. You will see it was worth it. You don't have to have the entire plan. So yeah, that's
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's what even I'm trying to do in terms of finding a partner. So just find the partner, the rest of it will unveil itself.
yeah. Go for it.
So it's an interesting thing that we've tried in the last few podcasts. So usually not in the close, but in the middle we try it out. So if you had one question to ask me,
Yeah.
right, that I had to give an answer in say 3 minutes, what would that question be?
If I would want to ask you a
Yeah, yeah.
question.
So I have asked you so many, and then you have to
Yeah.
put you on a spot for some time.
Yeah. How do I actually articulate everything that I have experienced? That would be the question.
So how do you articulate all that you experienced? Possibly you will have to answer that. So that's the coach answer, right? Um, that is how I'd answer that. But if I understand how you wanted to ask that question, saying how would I do it? Uh, I think possibly through stories is the easiest, and over a period of time, because I speak to a larger audience, I know which stories make the maximum impact. So I
Hmm.
work with those stories, and over a period of time, some of them have become synonymous with my favorites. So over that comes along, and I think also cater it to the audience, who's the audience, what stories to share, and basically increase curiosity about a story, not tell everything. So
Hmm.
make it as interesting and somebody will respond to you, Sunil. I think that story is fascinating. Can you tell me a little bit more? And since I don't practice any of my stories, whatever emerges in the moment, like you're sharing, some of these arenas you get into and only then you realize, oh, this is it. Right. So that I do it as a confident coach and a confident individual, that I can get to those places where stories can be explored and stories can be shared, and whatever I'm sharing is already impactful. That no story is less and no story is more, and everything has a place in this place. And that's how I'd answer it. But yeah, this is usually the question where everybody asks serious questions. So none of them have tried to do a funny one this. But otherwise, yeah, my answer would have been, if you have to know how you express it. It could be done in a story, could be done in a podcast, could be done in a reel, could be done in a picture. So metaphorically speaking, sometimes a lot of metaphors are able to crunch some of these data into one small space. Yeah, so that's that. So Shilpa, it's been your first podcast. In I think the first time ever this is a podcast that you've
Yeah.
been a part of. So how was it? And yeah, any closing words that you like to share?
Yeah, like it was great. This, as in, I think I had done one more podcast with one of my trainers. This is my second. Yeah, yeah. I was just like, yeah, did I do a podcast? Yeah, once with her. So, but yeah, here in the context of just sharing my story, I think this is the first one, and I loved it. Thank you for all your beautiful questions, and then leading it into and weaving into what to be shared. It felt light, felt nice to share my story. And yeah,
Fantastic. Good to see you here. And I think there are more stories. There will be more podcasts. And I think if you have people who you feel should be on the podcast, write to us, and we'd be happy to reach out to them and share. The more stories we share, the
sure.
better it is. And humanity at the end of the day is all about stories that we share, that we don't share, that we choose not to share. So all that. And again, thank you for your time today and most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.